Just a little background check. I'm a female, and I was 12 when this all started. And I lived in a very calm part of my estate in Ireland. My mom is involved too, but not as much as I am. So now, on to the story. It was midnight on Christmas Day when we got a knock on our door. I was taught not to open the door to strangers, especially when it was midnight. So I just ignored it and hoped that whoever it was would just go away. About 3 minutes later, I heard another knock, but this time it was like a huge bang at the door. I was terrified, and I didn't know what to do. So, by instinct, I went and got my mom to answer. When she answered the door, this drunk Romanian guy, who had a very scruffy beard and was wearing a white hoodie, was just standing there, and asked, "Can I walk your dog? I have my dog with me, so she'll be fine." And my mom, of course, said no. I was a little bit away from the door, but that's all I heard him say. My mom kept politely asking him to go away, and when she had enough, she closed the door. The next morning I was sitting having my breakfast, and my mom brings up the incident to my dad. So I started eavesdropping and took off one of my headphones. I was really scared because that's the guy who stalks me in the bushes while walking Molly, our dog. When she said that, my heart sank so deep into my chest that it started to hurt. So you'd think that's the end of it. No, it wasn't. Fast forward 3 years, and I'm home alone watching TV upstairs in my room when I had this sudden urge to look outside my window. And let me tell you, I was terrified. The same man was standing in my empty driveway looking up into my bedroom. I got so freaked out, and without hesitation, immediately closed my curtains. No more than 10 seconds later, there was a huge bang at my front door, and I hear the handle being played with. I was fucking paralyzed. When he finally stopped with the door handle, I heard the windows downstairs shatter into shards, and I heard him climb in. I sprinted into my bathroom and locked the door behind me, bringing my phone with me. I hear really fast thumps go up the stairs, and hear my bedroom door open. And once he realizes I'm not there, he immediately goes for the bathroom door handle. He starts trying to kick the door down, and he was screaming that he would rape and kill me. I called 999, and within 5 minutes I hear, "Put your hands up! Do it now!" I was so fucking terrified that it took me almost 30 minutes to get out of the bathroom. The officer told me that the man had a backpack, and in there they found dildos, condoms, a rope, a gag, bleach, and a meat cleaver. Also, I want to add that if the officers had arrived 5 minutes later, then I don't know what would have happened to me, as within 5 kicks he would have kicked in the door. And I don't want to know what would have happened to me if he did get in. This was a truly horrifying experience. This happened when I was in high school, around 2002. We lived on a dead-end street in an affluent town. My house was basically in the woods and difficult to get to. Our driveway alone was this massive winding hill. It wasn't a place anyone would ever drive by if they didn't live there. I was home alone after school, making a snack, playing my music, and getting ready to start my homework on the couch. We left the front door open a lot because the glass outer door was like a big window and let the sun in the stairway. We didn't even really worry about locking our doors at night. While I was settling in, I saw what looked like a big shape move past my window. Stupidly, I kind of thought, a deer? I ran to the back window to see it, and I saw a man trying to peer into one of our back doors. I immediately ran to our sliding screen door on the back deck and locked the glass door shut. And just as I did, the guy came running up and opened the screen door to bang on the glass. Let me in. My daughter's in there. I know you're having a party. I just want to get her and take her home. Let me in right now." I lied and told him only my dad was home, but he was napping. There wasn't a car in the driveway since I was 15 and took the bus, but I didn't want him to know I was alone. My dad didn't even live there. He continued to run around the house, so I ran to the front door and locked it, and he pounded on that one. Then he started to apologize and asked me to use my phone for a moment, that he just needed to check in the house and then he'd leave, etc. I told him that he had the wrong house and asked him who his daughter was, because there were other teenagers on our street. I kept asking her name and her grade, thinking maybe she really was friends with someone else on my street. He refused to say and kept apologizing for scaring me, but said he had to get in the house and I had to let him in or I would be in trouble if I didn't. That kind of shocked me out of my scared confusion, so I called my mom at the office while he was yelling to me and running around to peek in my windows. And she immediately handed me over to a work associate while she called the police. I told the guy that the police were coming to help him, and he backed off and got back into his van and parked at the end of our neighbor's driveway. Being on a hill meant that we could see the front half of the street. The officer came to my house first and told me to keep the door shut and to ask which way he went, and being on top of the hill meant that we could both now see where he had parked, behind the vines that blocked the turnaround at the end of the drive from the road. The cop said that he would go help him, and while we were talking, the van started to drive away. The officer ran back to his car in my driveway and flashed his lights on to follow him back down the main road. I don't know what happened, because my mom came home 30 minutes later. Man, did she fly down that highway, and called the police for a status. They just said he was a suspicious individual, and they were looking into it. We did get mentioned in the police blotter for officer called about suspicious man, but we never got any closure. I did end up reading the police logs in the paper for the next year, looking for a similar event somewhere else. Maybe this guy really was worried and looking for his daughter at a party at 3:45 on a Tuesday afternoon. Maybe it was at another house down our street. But the worst part was, while he was pressuring me in the moment, I actually thought, if I let him in, he will see his daughter isn't here, and he will relax and go away. If he was, shame on him. Because nobody with good intentions should ever be that aggressive, peering in windows, banging on doors, and yelling at a small 15-year-old female that was asked if she was still in middle school. If not, as a tactic, it almost worked, until I regained common female survival sense. Yeah, I've now been obsessively locking my doors and windows for the past 15 years. So, creepy dad, let's not meet. Ever. I've been on here for several months. This sub is amazing. I have had so many creepy experiences growing up in New York City and traveling the world for business and pleasure. This is my first post, as I believe it the first truly creepy encounter of my lifetime, and has forever altered my perception of strangers. I remember it like it was yesterday, and I am in my 30s. I was about 4 years old and living in a very safe apartment complex, doorman, cameras everywhere, etc., in a well-to-do neighborhood in New York City. It was a warm day, and my mom and I were downstairs checking our mailbox in the lobby. Siblings were at school, and Dad was at the office. Since it was warm, the doors of both exits on the main lobby floor were open, in essence allowing for anyone from off the street to access the building. I don't believe anyone thought this was a problem at the time because, as I stated before, there were cameras everywhere, and a doorman stationed in the middle of the lobby, whose sole purpose was to open and close the doors for residents and guests, sign for packages, and monitors the cameras via closed-circuit television. Back to the story. I was about 10 feet from my mom at the mailboxes, dancing and twirling around in my own little world, when all of a sudden a large man, and I mean large, like 300 pounds and well over 6 feet, came charging from behind me, running like a damn linebacker. In less than a few seconds he picked me up with ease, flung me over his shoulder like a sack of potatoes, and started running toward the exit at the end of the lobby, which led to the street. It was so surreal, everything went so fast and yet so slow, if that makes sense. I was screaming, and my obese, slow, but super nice doorman came sauntering to see what was going on. My mom, who was about 5'3", 110 to 120 pounds, was much faster than our doorman. After hearing her child yelling, she ran, jumped on the man's back, grabbed me off him, and started pounding on his back, hard. The doorman was still trying to catch up. It was a long lobby. He was really no help at all. The would-be kidnapper never looked back. He just kept running and eventually made it to the exit and back onto the streets. No police report was filed. Who knows why my mom chose not to report the incident to the police. Afterward, though, my mom became extremely protective of me. When I started kindergarten the next year, instead of the school bus, she walked me to and from school a few blocks away. She did this every day until I was in junior high school. Embarrassing. And rarely let me go to my friends' houses or go on overnight class trips. I think this event traumatized her more than me. I'm going to see her next weekend and ask her if she can remember more details. Update. I spoke with my mom over the phone, who said she remembers the story as I do. She added that the guy was a stinking drunk. She smelled alcohol all over him, and she said he looked homeless. Also, she added that the doorman was absolutely no help. When I asked her why she didn't call the police and file a report, she said that was over 30 years ago. Anyway, she did not want to talk about it any further. As I said before, this incident is a sore spot for her for some reason. I think she feels guilty, although she did nothing wrong. She actually saved my life, but I do think she could have called the police. By the way, I don't recall smelling alcohol or body odor, but I do remember the guy looked unkempt. If you enjoyed, please like and subscribe to my channel, and feel free to leave a comment in the comment section below. I will be putting out more videos in the next week as well. If you have any stories you would like to contribute, you can submit them to the link in the description. Thanks for watching.